Hi, BookTube. Welcome to another episode of Jack's Rain Corner. I am Jack, and once again, I have a day off. Although I have mixed feelings about having the one day off and then having to work, or not necessarily one day the whole week, but I'll have 2 days of work, then I'll have a day off. 2 more days of work, have a day off. Like, I don't know if I prefer this or I prefer more than one. Or if I. Sorry about that. As always, my phone messages, as soon as I turn on the computer, I hear the ding alerting me that I got a message. It's what happens when you have all your products are from the same company. Apparently, you get messages on everything, so they all have to alert you, like one right after the other. But anyway, so I don't know, because on the one hand, I feel like having 2 days off and then having to go to work for like 3 days or two more, is kind of a bit of a tease. But having one day off is also a bit of a tease. And I mean, tease isn't like you get one day to sleep in and do what you want. You don't have to, be up early to work. I mean, like I said, I'm all for getting up early for work because then you can just get the work day done and over with. I mean, unless, of course, if you're not part-time, you work full-time, then you might still not get home until the evening hours anyway. But, since I'm part-time, it works out great, and I can get home if I go to work early enough, then I can get home in the afternoon and have a good amount of time to do what I want to just chill. And since I'm not a student, I don't have any homework to worry about. So, but then it's like I have the one day to sleep in and chill, and then I have to go back to work the next day. And actually, I'm working 3 days in a row starting Sunday. And I found out from one of my coworkers that it's the double coupon day where you can use coupons when you make and I don't know how long that actually lasts. I don't know. I know it's more than a day. I don't know if it's like a week or maybe there's only one day for some, because there have been times where I think it's only been a day, but then there are times when it's a few days. So I don't know how that all works. But Sunday through, I guess, Tuesday possibly, on all 3 days, it's going to be pretty busy at the store. And unfortunately, that means I get to go, but I have to be there. I mean, I don't, or at least I'm scheduled to be there. Unless I get sick by some miracle. Just kidding, no. I don't want to get sick. I just don't want, it's like the getting up. It's like that actually in the process of having to get up. Or having to, even if I don't have to go into work until the afternoon, having to counting down to the time when I have to leave. It's not fun. But once you get there, it's like, let's just get this over with. Smile, be friendly, do the things you need to do. And you kind of feel good that you're being productive and you're getting stuff done and you're making money in the process. I mean, I know that some people just take jobs because they have to, yes, I do, but at the same time, I don't, I'm not, I'm gonna put in the effort. I'm not gonna be lazy about my job. Yes, there are times when I'm so tired that I get a little bit lazy, but not a lot. I mean, mostly the most laziness I'll do is I won't interact as much with the customers. I'll just do what I need to do and won't, start a 5-minute conversation with them while they're paying they're getting the groceries getting paid for. But it feels like, even though I'm getting home in the afternoon, it does feel like it's been a long day. But anyway, so now that I finally have a day off, I'm going to do some reading tomorrow. Maybe go to the bookstore or the pool, because now it's in our community, our pool opens early. Because I know in most places, the pool doesn't open until Memorial Day weekend. But here, it opens in May because we do, it's North Carolina, but it's still the Carolinas, so it's still farther down south. Which is nice. But although it's funny though, now that we have a community pool, I mean, I like to go and bring a book and stuff like that. But I've come to realize that yes, I'll swim a little bit, but then it's like I don't, I don't do much at the pool. And then after like an hour, unless we're with unless we're with, with people, you know, I'm good. Like I can go home after I get a little wet. Like I'm not a kid anymore, so I don't like splashing in the pool and just, playing water games and all of that. And of course, I never really was a big fan of the water, like the dunking your head and all that. I would get panicky. But let's go ahead and talk about what I'm reading this week. Okay, so I finally started reading those little books that I got from SuperCon last year by, and this is the second one, the Welsh Witch, about a female pirate and her adventures. And they're very short, they're very quick reads. Like, they're not the best books in the world, but they're fun and exciting, and I wish I could think of a better adjective than fun, but they're fun little thrill rides, they're quick reads, and I do hope for the best for this author. I hope he is successful and he's doing well and he's got books published, because it's not the worst book in the world, and, I feel like you shouldn't, even if you don't like a book or think it's terrible, I feel like you shouldn't begrudge someone just because you don't like the book that they wrote. Like, I still feel like you should just hope for the best for the author and that they succeed and that they improve, at least. And I'll talk more about the first one I read later in my, once I finish this one, and possibly I might get the other one, the sequel to this one read. And then I'll do, like, my review of them. Because, of course, this month I'm going to be doing reviews of everything instead of doing one big whole wrap-up. Just to practice my reviewing skills. Although, I just watched, one of the booktubers I liked, and she was talking about what she doesn't like in videos, what in videos that won't draw her attention, and I kept thinking, oh, do I do that? Am I that bad? Or, like, she's talking about reviewers, and how she doesn't like how reviewers will just say, oh, this book is good, and, I like this book, or I hated this book. She wants an in-depth review of it, and I feel like I'm still not there yet. I know I'm not there yet, and not very good. I'm still practicing, but I was feeling self-conscious, like, do I do that? Am I a bad reviewer? Or like, oh, she probably won't watch my reviews then, because I feel like I'm not the best. But I'm still working on it. I'm trying to improve. And like I said, I keep saying I should probably take notes and I never do. But maybe I just need to force myself to do that, so that maybe my reviews have potential to be a little bit better. But like I said, it's more about the fact that it's a quick, fun little adventure story. This one is about a female pirate, that goes on all these adventures, and she's been hired by this guy, Nearus. I think that's how, because his name is spelled like the word here, as in over here, but it's spelled with an N, so I think it's Nearus, and he hires her to help him rescue a friend that's on another pirate ship. But although the funny thing is, the story before it, so I guess that was kind of a prequel, which was introducing their friendship, or I should say friendship, because they're more like frenemies. But I think that was a prequel. The one I just read was a prequel to the first one in here, which was about him hiring her, Nearus, asking her to help him retrieve the special sword. But unfortunately, that sword is cursed, and that if you touch it, you will be stuck guarding it, and then essentially the only way you'll be able to get unstuck and uncursed is if someone else kills you. So it's like it's like being stuck with a rock a rock and a hard place kind of situation where it's like, okay, to break free of your curse, you have to die, but then you have to be so desperate. I mean, like, I guess you have to be really desperate for that. Both this one and the other one, which, like I said, I'll talk about in my after I finish reading all three of these. Well, actually, I have four, but one of them's a collection of poems and stuff like that, and short stories. But anyway, once I finish, then I'll talk about the first one a little bit more. But in both of these, though, there were quite a bit of typos. So the editor, I feel like it needs a new editor. I mean, they weren't, I guess, I mean, the thing is, though, I think they were small enough that you don't, only a person who was another writer would probably recognize. Well, no. It's just they're so sporadic. They're not noticeable. They're not like really big drastic type mistakes. They're like little things. Like in here I found where it said where the word should have been through, THROUGH. It had no R in the word, so it looked like though, but it should have been through. And it didn't make sense in the sentence. And there were other things, like I remember in the other one, the main character's name kept being spelled differently throughout the story, throughout the book. And then also, like, the stories have potential and they sound interesting. They seem interesting in the but it's short because both are just really short stories. So it's like, I feel like you don't get to know the characters that well, and they don't develop very well. And it's the same thing with this one. It's short, but I feel like you don't really develop the character. The characters are well developed, or at least there's not enough time to develop them. And again, this character is very similar to the character in the other book, except for the difference is that in the other book, the main character is a vampire. In this one, she's human, immortal, but she's a badass pirate and has this magical scarf she got from a red cap, a fairy, that allows her to absorb, if she can absorb someone's blood, and then obtain their skills in all their abilities. And other than that, she's cocky, she's a badass, she's a bit arrogant. But I do feel like you could argue in the case of this is the typical, the trope of not like other girls. Like, a lot of the guys are afraid of her, and she's that mentality of, I'm gonna kill the guy. I would rather a guy kneeling at my feet than, like, that's all she is. And if there was more if the story was longer, I feel like you could do more with that, give her more depth to her, and allow it to be more than just that. And maybe at least give her some background. It could be opened up to more background on what gives her the confidence to be that way. Like, all we know is that she's sassy and snarky and is a pirate, and she's bloodthirsty. And the same thing with the other one, like, the character was bloodthirsty, except she wasn't a pirate. In that one, she's a vampire. The main character is a vampire. But both girls are very similar. Like I said, the only difference is immortality. She's immortal, and that girl is immortal. I mean, like I said, I feel bad for the author because they're like an indie author, and also, although the author does write comic books, and at first I thought this was gonna be a comic book, but it was an actual book. So, and like I said, it's quick. It's quick to get through. I wouldn't entirely dismiss it, at least me, but I'm also pretty easy. I mean, as I've said a million times before, there are genres I just won't read at all. But I'm pretty easy. I mean, well, not easy as in like anything impresses me. Like, I'm easily entertained, but that doesn't mean it's like the best work ever. And I will probably, after I read all these things, I'll probably end up donating them to Gibbons. And who knows, someone else might like this. Like some, I don't, although it's weird, I don't know what to rate the, like, because I feel like, and you know, I don't know, I mean, like, I always think about what the books I donate, what would they be categorized under? Like, I feel like this is definitely not a kid's book. Maybe, like, older YA, possibly, but even then, it's a bit, I feel like a lot of people would be disappointed by it, sadly. So, I don't know, maybe I would keep it, because, I mean, they're not that big, obviously, they're not, so they don't take up a lot of room. So, I don't know. It's just getting down to the point where I think I might soon get to the point where I won't be able to donate anything. So I'm gonna finish that tomorrow because I mean it won't take me that long to read. Who knows? I might like later this evening I might read some more of it and just finish it this evening because there's just one more little short story and it's not that long and it's large print too, so it makes it even. But I had to stop now because I'm starting to drift off, and there were other more in-depth, more interesting books I wanted. Not that, I mean, I shouldn't say more interesting, I should say more depth to them that I wanted to read. Oh, let me close the door. Dad just got home. Go on. So yeah, so I'm probably gonna finish that either tonight or tomorrow. I also started reading. Okay, well, I still haven't gotten it. I read a little bit of Lies of Locke Lamora yesterday, and I got to the part where Locke is pretending to be the Grey King. You know what I should do when I do these videos? I should do a I need to do a warning when I do these videos or something, or just trying to restrain myself from giving away too much when I film these videos because I just ramble and say whatever, and I feel like I kind of spoil a little bit of the books I'm reading. But so I'm pretty, as you can see, I'm definitely a lot farther along in this book. And it helps that I'm reading it, like, not just when I get my breaks, but when I get home, of course. Like I said, it helps to read during, like I said, when I'm off. I also read that, but, like, all I'm going to say is we got to the part where Locke is disguised himself as a Grey King. Unfortunately, he's in a bit of a predicament, a bit of a pickle lately. I mean, at the moment. It's actually a really gross one. And we also got some background. We have Jean and Locke have been separated and sent different places. Like, Jean has been sent to the Glass Rose house, something like that, where he's going to be trained to fight because Chains has said that he could be the muscle of their group, but he needs to learn more another kind of fighting, I guess. Like, not just, hitting where you think it might hurt, but actually, like, controlled fighting, I guess would be the best way to put it. And then Locke has been sent to a farmhouse so that he can learn to blend in. If he ever has to disguise himself as a commoner, he can learn to blend in amongst the common folk. So if he, by learning how working a farm, which is, of course, it's the poor commoner people of the world, like, do jobs like this in fantasies and stuff like that. And I guess the lower class, he can learn to blend with the lower class, essentially. and again, it's such a swashbuckling adventure. I'm really liking it. I'm really hoping that because Underseas, Red Seas Under Red Skies, Under Red Seas Under Red Skies is the sequel to this, so I'm hoping I will get that. But there are a few other things I'm hoping to get for my birthday this year. But this is definitely, I need to get this now, because every time I've gone to the Books A Million near me, it doesn't have it. It has the third one, which I already bought, which I already have, the Republic of Thieves. I already have that one, obviously, but that's the third book in the series. And like I said, the first book is Under Red Seas, Under Red Skies. Now, I did get a hint, though, that I kind of got a little hinted. It wasn't spoiled completely, but I do know that I did get hinted that, by Murphy Napier. She didn't spoil, didn't say exactly, but she did say that this kind of implied that this kind of ends on a little bit of a sad note. I mean, there was already character death earlier in the book. But I'm guessing one of Locke's other friends also dies as well in this book, by the end of the book. I want to know who the Grey King is, because Locke seems to know him. And I don't know if it's a character we've already met, or it's a character that Locke is going to recognize by the end of the book, and then we're going to find out who they are, who he is in the book 2 or something. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I'm guessing those are my two predictions. So I'm also that's a definite as well. And then this morning I started reading this one, The Handmaid's Tale, because I was thinking, I need to read books that won't take me that long this month. That won't take me as long. I need the first one, but those are because I'm in the middle of a lot of big books, a lot of over like 500 plus pages. So I decided to also pick a book that shouldn't take me as long, and the chapters aren't as long in this book. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood is it's like one of the early it does say author of winning author of The Blind Assassin, which I think I have somewhere around here. I have that one. It might be down there, but so I wonder if that one came first and then this one. But this is the most popular one. This is the one that everybody, even before the TV show came out, I'm pretty sure it was pretty well known by readers. And then the TV show came out, and I think I want to read the book first and then watch the TV show. Of course, there are a lot of TV shows I gotta catch up on, but it's hard, because you go back to old favorites. Like I'm rewatching Buffy again for the third time since I've gotten the DVDs from Terry. It's like it's one that I'm used to. It's a show that I'm comfortable with, that doesn't bore me. There are some episodes I'm just there are a few episodes I'm just like, eh. And then there are some of them with scenes that I don't care for the scenes, but the rest of the episode itself is great. But it's a show that I'm comfortable with. It's a show that I know I'm going to enjoy, that I'm not going to get bored with, that I can have on the background while I'm doing stuff like watching BookTube and stuff like that. But anyway, this is her dystopian about a world where women are basically breeders. That there are groups of women that the guy will have sex with them. They'll make the babies with the guy, but they don't get to keep the babies. The baby will go to the people that own them, their masters. So, I read the first 4 chapters. I read chapters 1 through 3 chapters 1 and 2 this morning, I believe. I started reading. I think I did start reading chapter 3, but then of course I had to go to work, so I had to stop. But I didn't have a lot of time because I was not going to get up at 6 in the morning. So when I don't have to. So, and the chapters aren't very long. There's not much I can really say. You know, you've been introduced to Offred. I don't know how to say her name. And we've been introduced to her situation and how her life kind of sucks. And she's like contemplating how, you know, telling us about her life and how she's been the commander's, what I don't know what she would be, but his mistress. Well, I don't think she would be his mistress per se, because I mean it's not like he just has sex with her to make babies, so it's not like the sex is pleasurable or anything. And how she doesn't have much of a good relationship with the wife, which, I mean, a small part of her wants to have a good relationship with this woman, like when she first meets her, or before she, you know, when she's first told that she has to go and be whatever to this man. She's like, I think she had secretly hoped that this woman would be different and that she could be friends with her, even though she's going to be the sex partner to her husband. So, unfortunately, of course, no, because basically this woman is having sex with her husband. So it's like, she can't get past that. His wife could not get past that. And Offred knows this, and has realized this woman is just going to treat her like crap. So, yeah, and we do have mention of one of her family members, her Aunt Lydia. That's about it. Like I said, there's not a lot to say. I've only read 4 chapters of it. Okay, and then this morning I also read American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I read a little bit more of that. And, like, Shadow is still, I didn't get very far. Shadow is still working at the funeral home with the 2 Egyptian gods, and Ibis and the Jackal and Mr. Jackal. And he's run into Mad Sweeney, the leprechaun, who tells him, I gave you the wrong coin, I need the real coin back. And Shadow realizes that Mad Sweeney is a bit of an addict. And he hints that something's going down and you can't trust Mr. Wednesday, and that he asks Shadow for some money for a bus ticket because he wants to get out of there. He doesn't want to get caught in the crossfire of whatever's going to go down. And then right before that, though, Shadow was having this weird dream where he was having sex with this mysterious woman who was made me think of a cheetah or a tiger or something. And she kind of traps him in her sexual embrace. But of course it's sex, so he's enjoying it at the same time. But he can't escape either. And his mind is being clouded, and he keeps asking her, "Who are you?" But she doesn't answer him. And I'm wondering, though, is it like the previous scene in the beginning of the book with that other guy, and he was having sex with that one woman, and then she basically, I still don't understand what she did in that moment, in that part. Like, did she, like, swallow him, eat him or something? Or, like, did she, like, suck out his mind? I don't, like, did she enslave him? I still don't know. And is it, like, the same thing, kind of? But then, when he wakes up from his dream, he's invigorated. So maybe it isn't the same thing, and maybe the sex is just something. Because, I mean, in some religions, or some beliefs, I think they look at sex as, like, not necessarily a sinful thing, or just a pleasure, you know. They talk about it in the movie The Da Vinci Code, which I know is fiction and everything, but, I mean, I do believe that there are some people that look at sex as, like, release and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I'm not sure what is going on. Like I said, I'm moving slowly through this, because again, it's one of those books that, like, it doesn't, like, I'm in the middle of so many books, so it's not really the book's fault, it's just my own fault, because I'm reading so many books at the same time. And again, because I don't have as many day offs. I mean, I'm working now, so it's not like I'm not off for a whole week, unless I take vacation time. And of course, my last vacation, I didn't really get much reading done because I was visiting my sister and playing and helping babysit her little boys, and they're babies. So it's like the only time you really get any privacy is when everybody's taking a nap. So now the other books I was thinking, like, I feel like I need to get back into. I need to read this one, Amy Tan, the Kitchen God's Wife, and it is Asian Heritage Month this week. So maybe I could read this one for that. This is a book that is my sister's book, so I need to give it back to her. And unlike the John Adams book, that is my brother-in-law's book, at least with this one, I could see myself still being interested in it. I just actually put in the effort and sit down and read this particular book. I keep seeing Amy Tan at the Gibbons, but at the same time, it's like I'm not really eager to buy her books. Like, I like them, or at least I like the Joy Luck Club, and I'm probably gonna like this one. But again, it's not like I'm excited or anything to read them. So, which I don't know what this is about except for like a mother, again, just like the Joy Luck Club, it's about mothers and daughters. It's about a mother and daughter, and the mother is telling her daughter about her life as she's, I think, on her deathbed, I want to say. And I imagine that the daughter is going to end up going back to China at some point. Or I probably read that in the description. But like I said, I probably should read that this month, so that maybe, you know what, I should make it a goal to read it by July, so that when she comes in July, I can give it back to her. So I need to read that. And then, there's also, I need to get back into Conjuring of Light. I need to read that one, and I need to read I'm thinking about reading Sword of Destiny, because I want to, like, start the next book in that series. I don't want to get to the point where I forget to read, like I've been doing with Shades of Magic, where it's like, I will finish the other book and be like, okay, I'll come back to this, I'll read the second or third book later, some other time, and then it takes me forever to get back to it. I don't want the Witcher series to be that way, where it's like, oh, I will come back to it, read the first book, and then be like, oh, I'll come back to the next one later, some other time, and then and never come back to it, or at least don't come back to it until a few years later or something. And then, which means essentially I also have to read The Conjuring of Light. And like I said, I want to try to read these. These are ones I kind of want to, like I said, The Kitchen God's Wife, I could read when although I don't know when my sister's coming to visit, when they're coming to visit. So maybe I should make that a priority this month so I can read it before. Although, we're not leaving for the cruise until June 22nd, so I can still read it before the cruise. I can still read it in June and get it done before the cruise. I just gotta do it. And then I thought about getting back to this collection of shorts. Now, the problem with this one is it's hard to show my progress of these on Goodreads, because I'm not someone who reads the short stories straight through. I will read them. I've been reading them sporadically in this case, but this is 4 Past Midnight. It has Secret Garden, Secret Window, the short story movie starring Johnny Depp is based on. It has The Lunglers, which is about the creatures that attack the people on the plane. The Library Policeman, and the Sundog. And I did start reading Secret Window, Secret Garden. But then it's like I've seen the movie. I have the movie, so it just I figured, oh, maybe I should just wait on that one and read it another time when I'm not as, because I know what happens in that story. You know, it's like not a surprise. But I do know that, of course, books and movies or TV shows are different from the stories are a little bit different. The basic plots are a lot of times the same. But I decided I'm just gonna read the Library Policeman and then the Sundog at some point, and then maybe I will one day read Secret Window, Secret Garden. But it's just, I don't know if I ever will, because it's like, I have the movie, and I know what happens, so it's not really a surprise. So I'm gonna read the Library Policeman and the Sundog. I'll probably read the Library Policeman now, and then maybe read the Sundog in October. But I don't know what that plot is about. I'll have to look it up. Which there is, it's funny that because there's an Army for the Dark episode that's called The Phone Police, where basically it will imprison people that do prank phone calls. And that one, and of course, Army for the Dark, so it's about it's about kids. So this boy gets arrested for prank phone calls, and to the point where people forget about, like, his sister forgets that he existed and everything. So I don't know if it's the same thing. Concerning the library, it has to do with the library, and I'm guessing it's gonna have to do with breaking the rules in the library. And then I also need to get back into, I need to read the two classics I need to get back into are, The Count of Monte Cristo. I have really nothing to report with this one. I haven't read anything of it except for what I've already said in my previous day off reading on my day off video, which is that I think Franz, because Albert is the other guy, but Franz has left Sinbad the Sailor and has arrived in Rome and all that. So, but I've already talked about that, so not much to say. So I need to get that one. And I keep thinking also about, I need to get back into reading Middlemarch, but these books are so long. It's like, I'm not used to long books this length. I'm so used to shorter books. But I want to get to read books like this, because I feel, as I've said this before, that I feel like I'm missing out, because these books have so much juice in them, so much story in them. I feel like I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of story. And sometimes it's slow. These books are kind of slow moving, so I want to prove that I can do this. I'm just not used to it. And then I also need to read a little bit more of The Demon King, the first book in the Seven Realms series. And now that I have all four books, so I really have no excuse. I did read up to chapter 5, which breaks my rule about reading up to even chapters. But anyway, our female character, the princess, she has all these suitors, including this guy that she is attracted. She likes him. She's attracted to him, but she doesn't see a future with him. And she just flirts with him and has fun with him. And then our Han, the character of Hans, the boy with the amulet, we get a little bit of his life, and his mom is dead, and he's living with his friend. What's the friend's name? Dancer confront with his friend Dancer. And Dancer kind of when I think Dancer and his people, I keep thinking of like Native American culture. That's what makes me, like, when I think of them, that's the impression I get, like Native American kind of type culture. Especially even with the names, because a lot of Native American, or at least what the entertainment industry tells us, like what pop culture tells us, a lot of Native Americans have these names like Dances with Wolves. And then I haven't started reading this, but I did take this off my shelf. Carnival for the Dead. And, I think it's a contemporary set, but we have our main character is Teresa. She works in the police force. She's a police pathologist, but when her adventurous aunt, disappears in Venice on the eve of a carnival, Teresa is the one who's going to track her down. So I really hope this is good because, this is one of these things where I just picked up this book on a whim. But so I need to avoid Goodreads though, because Goodreads, sometimes I don't give books a chance because Goodreads says, like, a lot of people on Goodreads criticize it and say, which is like a good and a bad thing, because I feel like, yeah, it allows me to get rid of books and not waste my time, but at the same time, I always feel guilty because I've dismissed books, which I might have liked. Because, Goodreads said, which I know, I don't have to listen to Goodreads reviews, but it's also like I don't have time to just sit there and read a book that's gonna end up not being good. But of course, to be fair, everybody has different taste. Like I said, I end up feeling guilty because who knows, maybe what they think is not good is not necessarily what I don't think is what I think is not good. But it doesn't help that this is another chunky book. But there are so many books on my shelf that I need to read, and books that I've started reading, but I haven't gone back to them yet. Like Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, or like Clash of Kings, or The Shining, or The Stand. I have so many books that I need to get to, but there's those big chunky books that take me a long time to read. Anyway, so that is what I'm probably gonna, that's an idea of what I'm gonna read tomorrow. Like, I'll probably focus mostly on, I'll finish up not finish up American Gods, but I'm gonna read a little bit of that one, The Handmaid's Tale, The Lies of Locke The only one I'm probably gonna actually finish tomorrow is, The Welsh Witch. Because, again, look how small this is. This will take you a day to read. But of course, I'm kind of tired. So the only reason why it's taking me so long right now is because, I'm tired. And I can't keep my eyes open. So, but other than that, normally it would probably take me just a day to read this. It took me a day to read the first book. But anyway, so yeah. I'd love to know what you guys are reading, and I'd love to know, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and click subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope, as always, you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!